So here we are for another episode, and this week is a little bit different, isn't it, Chris?
It is. We're just doing a one-man special, but with three men.
How does that work? We're
I
not.
don't
It's
know.
not three men, one cup, is it?
Ah, that's something else. I don't know what you
That's
mean.
a tip.
What?
That's
Explain what
next
you mean
week's
by
video.
that. No. So yeah, we've been joined by a special guest this week. And would you want to talk about some of his effects and things like that? So he's released loads of stuff
Yeah.
over the
So,
past sort of,
so
what,
I mean, I'll
15
do a
years?
quick intro of him, but then I want him to tell you a little bit about what he does. So this week we're joined by Joel Dickinson. Now, Joel, I would say it's fair to say recently moved to the northeast, up to the Newcastle area. And what he's known for is releasing a lot of effects. He's a very prolific creator, I would say. He's released, I don't even know how many tricks, 20, 30, would you say, Joel, over the
Yeah,
years?
something like that. I don't know myself,
A lot
so
of
yeah,
effects.
something like that. Then.
Most of them, some of them you will have seen, some of them you might not have seen. Murphy's stock a lot of your stuff. Magicbox restock a lot of your products. Some products are aimed, I would say, at professionals, but some are also aimed at hobbyists. And I would say you've got quite a big range in that respect, as in some stuff's very easy self-working type stuff aimed at a beginner. And then there's other stuff out there which is aimed more at a professional who's already maybe going out and performing, doing weddings and that sort of thing. Whereas a lot of creators, I think, out there will just create either stuff for amateurs or hobbyists, and then other creators will create just for pros. So generally you find pros create stuff for pros, and other creators sometimes aren't pros themselves, but they create stuff for amateurs. And then you have people like yourself, and I would also say Chris is also in that sort of range as well, that he creates a little bit of both as well. Would you say that's fair to say?
Yeah, it is in my case. Yeah. But everything I create, I will go out and perform at a gig before I release it and try it for real people. And I'm sure Joel's the same. You know, I think I don't like to release pipe dreams. You know.
Yeah. So Joel, where are you now? You're in obviously a studio.
I am, man. Yeah, I'm in my studio at the moment. I would say like the magic that I create, you pretty much bang on, really. Like I started performing when I was 16 years old. Started in like stage cabaret style performing. And then, but my main interest from when I was like 10 years old was predominantly close-up magic. So like I spent my like entire life just reading, honestly. Well, I'm saying my entire life, my like, from like 10 till about 14, I had
Yeah.
like maybe two or three books, and one of them was The Royal Road to Card Magic. And that's got like a big mix. It's like predominantly close-up stuff, but there's quite a bit of stand-up stuff in there as well. So
You worked
yeah,
in Spain for a while, didn't you? Did you work at
I
the
did, man.
house?
Yeah, I mean that was like the early days. So I opened up the first House of Illusions for Rodney James Piper,
Hmm.
and at the time I was working with Oliver Tabor, Scott Pepper, who's an illusionist, Oliver Tabor, who's like predominantly like a manipulation act,
Yeah.
and Matt Edwards, the guy you've probably seen on Britain's Got Talent. I think he was
Yeah,
in.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I opened up with like the first House of Illusions with them guys, and then I left Spain after like a couple of years, and then started performing in like totally different environments. Like I instantly went and moved to York, and weirdly started performing on the street with an old school street performer called Captain Keno, right?
Right.
And like an old Charlie Chaplin tribute act. So I got like a big experience of performing street shows. And then from there, I did a few comedy clubs around York, like Other Side Comedy and festivals and things like that. I mean, at this point, I'm still really young. Like, well, I'm saying really young. I was like 18, 19 years old, and I've already done like a few years of
Wow.
performing in loads of environments. And then I just predominantly just focused on, becoming a close-up magician, becoming a cabaret performer. And then I spent the best part of 25 years just like honestly, the majority of my living was just weddings and cabaret shows.
Yeah.
So yeah,
You also did kids stuff as well, didn't you? Because you festivals and stuff where you've done family shows and kids stuff. And I guess you got that experience what from
yes,
doing the street stuff.
yeah. A lot of my experience came in from like street performing. So I did like a lot of juggling, a lot of comedy stuff. I was inspired by like a lot of clowning, a lot of magic, comedy, just like a huge mix of stuff, really. So yeah, just I think like my background, but I mean, like even though I've done all of that, I've also like in the past put myself out as a mentalist, whereas performing like, you know, little theatre shows around the country doing, I mean, I'm talking like the best part of 15 years ago when I was doing this type of stuff, but I was even doing like psychic readings. I remember doing a psychic reading in somebody's conservatory, you know, like a private party. I was meant to be there.
So what's your favourite type of gig to perform at then, mate?
Do you know what? I don't really perform much anymore these days, and that's me being totally honest. And it's quite hard to say that because, like, a lot of people will be thinking, well, where's he getting all of the experience performing his material? You know, but I do send my routines off to people. I still do go out and perform a little bit and test all my stuff in the real world, you know. But I think like my favorite environments were probably just like fun days and family fun days and things like that, because it was always like quite low pressure from the audience, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed doing a lot of like comedy magic, and you know, I'm going to say comedy magic, like my kind of like theory and philosophy at the time was as simple as just make sure the magic that I do, even though it's stand up, isn't just funny. And it's not just a basic trick where something happens. It's to take all of that experience that I had from when I was really young, reading books and really becoming invested in magic, like books like The Royal Road to Card Magic. I mean, at one point, I could honestly like you could name a page and I could tell you what trick was in that book. It was like pretty weird, like, you know, just like totally addicted to that. But, you know, like I always had this like theory thing where I just had to make sure that the magic that I did was really strong, rather than, you know, rather than just like simple self-working tricks on stage. I like to make sure that things happen and, you know, take a lot of like eating pens really quickly and, you know, like, yeah, just
So where did the
stuff
creating side come in? When did you start creating stuff?
I actually put my first trick out about 20 years ago, and it was called Horror Secrets. And it was with a good friend of mine called Adam Hudson, and it was a zodiac reveal. So yeah, probably about then. And it was a digital download. And I know at the time, not many people were doing digital downloads.
I was going to say that must have been one of the first digital downloads out there. Then really,
it was a long time ago. Yeah, it was at the time where like JBTV were, you know, like I don't know if you remember. There's like a period in time where JBTV were just like, their website was always there and really, really prominent. And it was, it was basically like a magic shop, wasn't it? I think it's predominantly like their own ideas at the moment. I'm not sure. I haven't looked into this for a while. But yeah, man. I mean, sorry. Yeah, I go off on a tangent, so sorry.
So what's, and I'll get asked this question all the time, and I'll be amazed if you can answer it any better than I do, which is not very well. But what's your favourite trick that you've created? Not necessarily released either, but created.
Yeah. I think at the moment, right, there's like a pattern that I have where my favorite trick that I've created is always the one that I'm going to be working on, and the idea that's coming in your mind now, and that keeps you moving, done it to the next thing.
Yeah, but that's the one you're always excited. That's the one you're always excited about, because it's the one you're physically working on, and you're excited to show people the concept. Yeah,
and if you think about like the amount of tricks that magicians throw away because they've already mentally moved on to the next thing,
right?
You know, it's like there's so many tricks that magicians are probably not releasing because they're more excited about another idea.
Yeah.
Whereas if they just slowed down and focused on that one single idea and actually put it out, it'd have probably been amazing. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
But
by the same token, you know, how many times do you sort of just chuck something away because when you thought it was brilliant to start with, and then you realise it was crap halfway through? You know, I've got a drawer full of stuff like that. And I look at it now and I think I can't even remember what this did and stuff. You must have the same thing, you know. I imagine.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, like, it's even like I came up with a trick about it's only a couple of years ago, and it was a zigzag card. You put the card in this little frame and you move it. And I remember it just being absolutely brilliant. And I'm still in my own head trying to go back to it to remember how it worked. You know, so yeah, I'm always like throwing ideas away rather than just focusing on them and making them absolutely solid and the best that they can be. But you know, always making sure that what I put out is the best that it can be, if that still
So
makes
when you
sense.
first
Like,
put out the first effect that you talked about before the sort of the Zodiac trick, that pushed you on what to then start creating more stuff, because you pretty much know now more, and I think you would be fair to say this as what you said before, you don't perform that much, so you're more of a creator now than a performer. You pretty
yeah,
much
yeah,
spend most of your time creating and making gimmicks and stuff like that. And for
yeah,
anybody who doesn't know, that your company is Miracle Studio, right?
that's right. Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's what you put most of your effects out under.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. Yeah, yeah, man. So like predominantly like creating at the moment, but I've got like genuinely like an extensive background like in performing and in tons of different environments as
Yeah.
well. You know, so it's like I am at the point in my career where I know what does work in the real world and what doesn't, you know. And I think
Me and
like
Graham, I was just going
sorry.
to say, Graham have talked about this before, right? And Graham can't do this, and I imagine you can, and I can. Can you sort of, when you get an idea in your head, it's almost like, can you visualize how it works and see how it works from start to finish, whether it's going to work in front of an audience and all the rest of it? Because I can,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
Graham struggles
definitely.
with that.
Right.
I do.
Yeah, I find like I can flesh out tricks pretty quick as well. You know, and it's like people in the past have said, so how is it you create all of this stuff? Like, and I think it's like just because you've had like I don't know if I'm explaining this well, right? But hang on, give me 1 second just to process this, right? I think what happens in magic is we spend our lives going out and performing and putting ourselves in these situations, but we force ourselves to understand what it is that we do because we're constantly doing it, you know? So, like, for me, like, if I get an idea for a trick, I ideas can come from lots of different places. Like it can come from seeing somebody do something and they get partway through the trick and you think, oh, I thought it was going to do this.
You're right. Yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah.
then you're like, whoa, hang on a minute, I might have a trick. If I think about it and I do, and that's like one way that a trick can come to you. It could be like something that you read 20 years ago and it sparks an idea. And like for me, like tricks just come in loads of different ways. But
Mm.
often, like I've genuinely thought of a trick in the past. It's called the Pinnacle, and it honestly came about as a dream, right?
Oh, I've had
And
that as
this,
well. Yeah, it's
yeah,
weird.
and this trick came about as a dream, and I honestly woke up and I made it and I showed it to Debbie and I was like, what do you think of this, Debbie? And like, before you know it, I'm balancing a pencil on my finger, a packet of playing cards on top of that, a playing card on top of that, then a matchbox, and then a match on the end of it. And it's just like hanging on my finger like this. And Debbie's like, holy boo, that's amazing. And then before you know it, I'm on a phone call with Wayne Dobson, and he's like, I think that's incredible. What about this? And he's like throwing all these ideas. I'm like, it's quite amazing, really, that this idea came from a dream.
Hmm.
And you know, and now I'm on a video call with Wayne Dobson about a single trick, who I've loved the magic of for years. And yeah, yeah, I think like I don't even know where I'm going with this, man.
And
Like,
that's an effect that's been out for a couple of months now, isn't it? We sell that as you do as well, the Pinnacle,
yeah,
which
yeah,
is pretty much what you said. It's a balancing effect, and it's all handmade as well. So you went
it
from
is,
that
man.
and
Yeah,
then to mass producing it,
yeah, yeah.
which I can
Oh, that was
imagine
hard.
must have took forever, because the gimmicks and that are really impressive. The way that the things are made, and without giving the trick away, the way that the gimmicks are specially made. Each one's individually handmade, isn't it? Each
Yeah,
part
it
of the
is, man.
trick.
Yeah.
There's
Well,
several
actually,
parts to it.
it's even worse than that. There's a little bit of a story, right? Basically, my original intention, because it comes with a match, was to ship it with a match. But it turned out we were making like 500 of these tricks, and each one of these tricks took hours. No, sorry, like the whole thing took, and I'm not exaggerating, like these 500 tricks probably took about a year to make 500 of these. The worst trick for building wise and
Yeah.
time and intensity that I've ever made. It was really, really tough, right? And anyway, we're kind of getting to the point where we're going to ship them, and a light bulb goes, hang on a minute, I don't think I can ship these because of the matches. So I'm now thinking, if this gets picked up at customs, I obviously don't want that. So we ended up having to take these ready gimmicked matchsticks, cut the heads off, and then give everybody a piece of this putty. So that I figured out a way to make an actual realistic looking match. It was really easy. Took a few seconds per match. And then I put this bit of putty in these little boxes. And then we came to ship them, and I checked the little bits of putty, and they dried out on every order, right? So I'm now like, oh no, right? What am I going to do? So I ended up having to just make these fake heads on these matches. And it was just an absolute nightmare.
I think this is a lot of stuff that people don't realize when they're buying a trick from a creator who's physically created, made them themselves, all of these little problems that they've ran through. So when you're paying, you know, your 20, 30 quid for a trick and you're going, is that it? Is that all I get? The amount of development and stuff that goes through that, you know, the putty drying out and then realizing you can't pack it this way and having to repack it this way. And you've already made 500. I think a lot of people just don't understand that concept of it, you know.
Even now, I imagine when people are watching this, they'll probably go, what, a year to make 500? But that is the truth. Like, honestly, like, it was hell on earth. It was so hard. Like, you're going crazy, like, as you sat every single night. Like, I'll be working in here, and then I'd have to go home, and every single night I'd have to make these tricks with my partner, and we are just making them every single night, like non-stop, you know. And it's like, well, hang on, why didn't I just work here and do them here? Well, I couldn't, because they took the best part of a year to make, and if I just focused on them, I wouldn't have been paid for a year. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, it's that extreme sometimes with stuff.
So you hinted before we started recording, you hinted on a new thing you're working on, and you were going to show us. Can you show us that now? Do you think the thing with the gym?
Yeah, sure. There's a couple of things that I mean, like an immediate release that's coming out like at some point. I think even this week is this. This is called The Cheat. I can't show you what it is, but I can basically explain. I'm going to show you some stuff. Don't worry, right? But yeah, so this is The Cheat, and what it basically does, it turns any playing card box, providing it's obviously it's bicycle, right, into a peak device. But it can be used on the table, so you can place your box down on the table and you can retrieve a peak, or you can have it in your hands and you retrieve a peak. So yeah,
you showed me this. It's very, very good, very well made, very clever gimmick. So is that currently at Murphy's? Am I allowed to say that?
Yes.
So
Murphy's are about to put it out.
So that'll go out and be available probably in the next week or so.
Yeah, man. So anytime soon. I think you're going to be stocking it, from what I remember.
Yeah.
I mean, this is another one that took probably about 3 months. We made 550 of these, but this was a little bit easier to make. But you know, the process of this was just
so it was like a long. And it's not just a trick, is it? It's a utility device. Stuff you can do, lots of different things. Does it come with routines with it?
Yeah. It actually comes with a routine where, in effect, you ask somebody to draw something, right? And from, you know, then you can reveal what it is that they've drawn. I should really explain, like, you know, if you're going to be using this, you could have a blank packet of playing cards in here, or even just some business cards or your playing cards, whatever. And then somebody puts their card into the box and you close it up and you've had your peak. That's effectively how the effect works. Mm-hmm. So I should have really explained a little bit more about that. But yeah, man. So basically, it comes with a routine. Like, it comes with a, you know, like drawing duplications, handlings. But somebody can draw a picture. You tell them what it is that they've drawn, and then you ask them to think of something else. And then you can tell them what it is that they are thinking of, and you can reveal that they're thinking of their star sign, but then you tell them what their star sign is. They never write it down or anything like that. Nobody hears you talking about star signs or anything. And that's the effect, you know. So, yeah. Excellent. That's just like one of the tricks that you can do on it.
Yeah. No, so that's it this week. And further away, you've got some other stuff you're working on as well.
I do, yeah. So
this is if you're going to show what I think you're going to show, this is something me and Chris will probably like and use.
Right. Okay. Cool.
If it's
so
what I think
this is cool. Yeah, man. No worries. Right. So one thing that I've loved for years is the Kennedy box. the mystery box.
Yeah.
Sorry, John Kennedy's mystery box. And I honestly, man, just love
Yeah.
that. Like,
So for
you
anybody
know,
out
it
there who
was-
doesn't know what that is, the effect generally is you bring a small box out, you don't show what's inside, you place it on the table, you have a card selected, the card signed, the card vanishes from the box, and when the lid's lifted off, their signed card is inside the little wooden box.
That's
and I
right.
think most magicians, unless you're sort of an amateur or maybe a hobbyist who just started out, might not know what it is, but I think a lot of pros have used that or something similar. I know that I use, and we've talked about this on the podcast before, I use David Stone's Cell quite a lot, which is a similar
Right.
thing.
Yeah.
But I'm always looking for something, because I think signed card to impossible locations, what for me is one of the strongest things you can do, whether, you know, wherever that card is, whether it's in a wallet or wherever. And I know Chris does a signed card to impossible location as well. It hits hard.
Yeah. Well, I'll show you the switch if you like. I'll show you what it looks like. You know, so basically this is built around a smint box. And what I like about it is that it's just something that you would actually have on you. And it actually started and came about because I did have these on me. But I'll show you what the actual switch looks like, the actual moment. So if you can see inside the box, there's a playing card.
Yeah.
And you just dump that card out. And that card, well, that was the switch. You open that up now, and that's their signed selected card. And that can be handed out and examined. There's nothing to find. Like, you can put the finger in, feel around, have a look about, and it's literally there's just nothing to see, you know. And you're left really, really clean.
Looks good.
So that's like the basic of the switch. But the thing that's really nice about this box as well is that it comes with like this little inbuilt stage. So obviously what you wouldn't want to do is hand the box out and have it examined, right? Because it just wouldn't make sense. In fact, it would draw attention that the card has been switched, if you see what I mean. So what's really nice about this is if somebody did grab it and started looking at it, they can't find anything, right? But it comes like with this natural little inbuilt layer here, this little
that's cool
thing.
Yeah,
so you place that down on the table and subconsciously you're letting people look inside.
You know,
nice. But the reason why I mentioned the Kennedy box is because it shares like a really similar principle. And if you know the Kennedy box, you know now exactly how this works, right?
What's the reset like, Joel? Is it the same as the Kennedy box?
Just show you the reset.
Yes, was that
That's it.
Wow,
it's reset.
Brilliant, great.
I'm closing this now, and it's locked in place.
It's locked, yeah, fantastic.
It's locked. So
and
the
that was
whole...
the one thing about the Kennedy mystery box that I didn't like, or the only thing I didn't like really, was the lid's loose, isn't it? You know,
it just
solved that problem.
On top, doesn't it?
Yeah, I used to wrap an elastic band around it just for that reason. I think a lot of other people did as well.
So I sent it to John Kennedy, you know, to basically have his permission and blessing, if you like if he's happy for me to release it. And he came back and said, basically, like, he said, it's absolutely lovely. Like, I give you my blessing. But one thing, like, over the years, is that if you Google the mystery box, you're going to find AliExpress rip-offs. You're going to find other people who have actually tried to release similar tricks into the magic community, and they've just done it without John Kennedy's permission. And to me, it's like, you know, like, because the Kennedy box is one, it's an old trick. A lot of magicians know it. I mean, like, man, you must have sold mountains of them over the years, like especially years ago when, you know,
all different versions, different types of wood, the walnut ones and the the oak ones.
I've still used the mystery box 2, which was the one with the overlap on the gimmick, you know, and it's beautiful. It's great.
It's great. It's brilliant. It's brilliant.
And so when's that out, Joel? Because I really like that. That's great. That's right up my street, that is, to be fair.
Yeah, I think we'll probably have these made. It'll probably take a couple of months to get all of these done. So we're probably looking maybe like mid to late September, I think.
Okay. Well,
no, sorry, October. Sorry,
October. I would say halfway through August now, which is scary. I'll definitely be looking out for that one. I think that's
me too. I think that's really, really good. What I like about it is a smint box. So there was another version out years ago, which I think was Daniel Garcia, wasn't there?
Yes.
Was it Zoids or something he had out?
That's right. It was called Mint.
Mint, yeah. I always found the problem with that is the box wasn't really recognizable to us in the UK.
That's
It
right.
wasn't really like a box that people would be familiar with. Whereas
Yeah.
that's really nice.
Yeah,
Um,
his was an Altoid box. I don't know if you've seen the method for that, but it's absolutely brilliant. Like, it's so
yeah,
good.
yeah, we had them in. I did use it for a while.
Yeah.
Then I went back to using Cell. But I'm always looking for something similar to Cell, but with a different thing. What I always like about objects like that, rather than the box, I like stuff that people aren't expecting the card to be in, and kind of the
Right.
Smith box. I kind of think you could bring that out and put it somewhere, give it to somebody to put in their pocket, and they're not immediately thinking, "Oh, the card's going to be in there." Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas the
Yeah.
box, I always thought mystery box, it's a great trick, but I always thought the downfall of it was it's putting it down there, then doing a card trick. I almost thought that a lot of spectators are already one step ahead and going, the card I'm going to pick is going to be in there, isn't it?
You can,
Mm.
well, if you put it down at the start of the card trick, yes. But if you put it down at the start of your set and then do a set,
Yeah, and
not.
come back to it. I mean, this
Yeah.
is also
Yeah.
one of the
Yeah.
reasons why I never really, I wasn't a massive fan of the clear mystery boxes,
No,
and
the
where you
same
showed,
with-
yeah, you kind of, it was kind of an anticlimax. You were showing the card in there, putting it down, you know, whatever you pattern you use, it's me lucky card, whatever. Then had the card selected and it was in there, kind of to me pointed either
Yeah.
that.
But
There was, but
maybe,
I like the fact that it's an inanimate object, such as a
yeah,
mint tin.
definitely. I see what you mean. But going back to the clear box, which is, like you say, like it's a bit of an unusual item.
Hmm.
And the predictions on display ahead of time. Sorry, the
Yeah,
card is on display ahead of time. But maybe you could actually decorate that up. And like what I would have most likely done if I ever performed that, and I never did, is call it a prediction. And I'll get back to my prediction in a little bit.
yeah, yeah,
So it
yeah,
takes that, you know, instead of saying like this card is going to become your card in a moment, it's like you're putting too much heat on it.
yeah,
Obviously, you
yeah,
wouldn't be
yeah.
saying that anyway. So if you kind of present this as, you know, a prediction, and I'm going to come back to that in a moment, and it's going to reveal something, it's going to amaze you all. You've
Yeah.
then drawn that attention, but disconnect from the moment when you reveal
Yeah,
it.
I mean, the
somebody's
other way
written
that
card.
that I've performed it in the past is you would say that the card in that box is a duplicate of yours. Wouldn't that be amazing? You know,
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
pick the six of hearts and that's the six of diamonds in there, and then when you tip it out, it's not. It's actually their physical card. But the
Yes.
other problem I always thought with that is I always thought it points towards the method,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
they've seen, you know what I mean? Like they know
I
that
don't
there
think
was a
it points.
card in there
I
before
don't
they
think it
chose
points.
it.
I don't think it points to the method. But what I've always thought is that people are thinking about the method before you even get there, because they're just
Yeah,
thinking
exactly.
it
Yeah.
becomes like, how is my card going to end up in there?
Yeah, they know there's a switch. They don't know
Yes.
when you switched it or when it was. But that's what I'm saying. It points them towards the method if they
Right.
see the card in there
I think
beforehand.
so, yeah. Rather than, oh my God, my card's in there, you know, after the event.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Do you think, though, here's a little one, do you think we're sometimes possibly tricking ourselves? Because if you look sometimes at some of these gimmicks, and I'm not going to say any of them, they don't actually look like folded cards. Do you think participants are sometimes polite? Possibly. I don't know.
No,
you know what?
I don't think they'd ever notice if
I
it was.
don't
No.
think so either. I did. So I released my own version of this a few years ago. In fact, I've got one right here. There we go. So that was my
Yes.
take on it, which was the cigarette lighter. And on one not so memorable occasion, I pulled the gimmick out, and I'd got a blue gimmick and I'd got a red card folded, ready to go.
I know exactly what you're going to say. Yeah,
And they never noticed a damn
never
thing.
noticed. No.
Right.
I mean, that's the other
yeah.
thing I loved about light is that, again, that's an object. Nobody expects there to be something inside it. Do you know what I mean? So it's an inanimate object, and they don't expect, even after you've done the trick and you bring the lighter out, they still don't know where you're going with it. It's got that twist when it's inside, and I think the cement's the same. I mean, but I've done Cell before with completely different back designs cards, and it's flew. No one's ever had a clue, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I don't think
It probably
the
adds
folding
to
bracket
it.
makes that much difference.
Because you could tip it out and literally say, oh, boom, it's changed colour. Not only has it changed colour, it's your card.
It's a different effect in it.
The other thing
Yeah.
that I like, which I think you can do with your Smint box, that I've had one in my hand, is I always liked doing a double card in there. So
Right.
what you do the first time is you force the card on the spectator, and you give them the Smint box at the start of the trick, and there is one folded up inside, another duplicate. So they open it and they take the card out, and it's their card. Right. And because I think yours is quite easy to reset, as they're taking it out, you take the Smint box back, you reset it and put it back on the table. Now you can do the effect again, and have the card signed this time, the card vanishes.
Yeah.
And now you're pointing again. Now, I always found when I've done that, I don't do it all the time because it takes a bit longer, but the spectator misremembers that they took it out of the box themselves both times. Because they remember physically opening the box and taking the card out the first time. So when you do it the second time, they misremember that they took the card out and it was their signed card and you never touched it.
That's really cool.
And I think you could do that with yours.
You definitely could. But not only that, though, you could actually put in an actual duplicate, provided I might be just repeating what you've said here, so sorry if I do. But you could put in a duplicate card and have a couple of people select a card, right?
Yeah.
They could go in themselves and pull it out. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And then to reset this gimmick, you can literally do it. You don't need a tool or anything. You don't need to do anything. Like, well, you do, but you can literally do it in front of them and it's reset and then tip out the signed card. Is that what you just said?
That's what you just said, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, cut that bit out.
So I was going to
tell you what is. I'll tell you something else, though. I haven't actually told you that I've literally just finished writing a booklet.
Okay.
I've just finished it, and I've sent it to print last night.
Is that what you're waiting for?
Yeah, that'll do.
What's it about? What's it on?
Well, it's well, there are 5 mentalism effects in there, and it's all stuff that you can perform like at the drop of a hat, basically. There's a witch hand routine when you guess correctly where the objects are, but you can keep repeating it. It's phased, so there's like 4 phases in the whole thing, and at the end they can decide if they're a truth teller or a liar. And then when they turn the hand, and then you tell them where. I mean, like you already know where the item is. Like you can say you're either going to be a truth teller or a liar. It's completely up to you. So they're hiding a coin and a piece of paper between hands. And you just say, "Is the coin is in your right hand? Is that right?" And they'll say yes. And the paper's in your left, and they say yes. And now they've decided if they're a truth teller or a liar. And they show you that you were correct. And when they open up the piece of paper, it says you are a liar. So it matches whatever they have decided to become. Yeah. And then
there's no gimmicks.
No gimmicks at all, no.
And how long does it? But how long does it take to charge the battery in it?
No, there's nothing at all. Like it's just a coin and a bit of paper, and away you go. Yeah. But there's other routines as well. There's a routine that I've been performing for years, and we can get a recording of this at some point if you like. Where basically you ask somebody to think of a playing card, you go through a deck of cards and you ask them, can you see your value of your card here? They say yes. Can you see the color of your card? No. Can you? And then you're bunching through cards. Now answer in your mind only. Can you see the suit? Now answer in your mind again. Can you see the value? Yes. And you go through all the cards, and then now you know the card that they're thinking of, even though they've never told anybody what the card is. And I've just basically explained that in the worst possible way. But that's the effect. I mean, like, yeah, so somebody just thinks of a card and you can tell them what it is. But the deck is also, it enables routines as well. So you can ask somebody to think of a card, and the truth is, by the time that you're just halfway through the deck and it takes seconds, you already know what their card is. So what you can do is just turn the cards to you, remove the card that they're actually thinking of. You can palm it out. You can make it appear at a position. You can do anything you want with it because you know what the card is, even though they've never told you what it is. And anybody watching, they wouldn't have a clue, like, how it works, you know? So,
right. And is this a booklet that's been physically printed, or did you say to download?
No, it's physically printed, yeah.
Right.
So I'll tell you what.
Oh, what's happened to him? He's gone.
He's left the building.
Oh, he's back. You're back.
What you got there? Am I here?
Yeah, you're back now.
Yeah,
froze there. You look like you were having a stroke. But he's back now.
Am I back?
Yeah, so it's a PDF, a printed booklet, which you're going to have out in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah. So it's a printed booklet. But what I could even do, if you like, is come in at your shop at some point. You could film the effects, and we can show them to the people who are watching now.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds
Awesome.
good.
You fancy that at some point?
Yeah. Cut in
Okay.
now. Taylor will be cutting that in now as we speak on this video. So let's wrap this up a little bit. You've got, did you have an effect that you were going to show us as well?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I was originally going to teach you this. This is something that I created years and years ago, and I like this because it's just so visual. Where we take a couple of rubber bands, and these are just like regular bands, you know,
Yeah.
and you link them together, and the bands are linked. I don't know if you can see this like cleanly enough, but
Yeah.
And then whenever you want, you can separate the bands.
That looks so good.
That looks
That's
good.
Excellent. That looks really good. I love rubber band stuff. It's something I've done for a long, long time, since I was sort of 17, 18 and watching the Dan Harlan videos.
That is a long time.
And I love rubber band stuff. That's great. That looks brilliant.
So, Joel,
Yeah.
before we go, a couple of things. First question, we've asked every guest we've had on so far, and we just want to ask, who is the magician who's inspired you the most?
Okay. So the magician who inspired me the most was a magician called. It's not a famous magician. Does that matter? No. It's a magician from the older generation, and for years, like when I told you how I was reading The Royal Road to Card Magic, and I was introduced to him through a club called the Northwestern Society of Magicians. So I joined that club when I was about 13, 14 years old. And I'd basically like spent all of my time reading The Royal Road to Card Magic. And he was just this old school magician, super talented, like unreal. Like he would perform the Gypsy Fred and your mind would just be like shattered just watching him, just going, wow. But he had this style of presentation that was really, really natural. He was called Terry Crawford. And what he used to do, what happened was my next door neighbor at the time, I think it was her 80th birthday, right? And she booked a magician for me for her birthday because she knew how much I loved magic. And I was really like quite young at the time. And we were all just sat in this little bar watching Terry Crawford perform this show. And he was just unreal. And we got talking to him at the end, like, because I'm interested in magic and my family were talking to him. And before you knew it, he just brought this huge pile of props over to my house, which wasn't just props, it was books, tricks, just, you know, like loads and loads of stuff. So I went from having like the Royal Road to Card Magic and a couple of other books to this library of really cool magic, like from the old school. And and then I just spent so much more time just like even like books by like Carol Fox and, you know, just like old school style, but reading it was just like, wow, this is amazing.
That's incredible, isn't it? You know, and do you? We've talked about this on our channel before. Do you now help all the next generation as much as you possibly can? Because I always do. You know, if a kid comes up to my stand at a convention, I'll always give them a trick or give them something or give them some advice or whatever. And I think it's really great that we do that. You know, I can't think of any other thing like magic where this happens so much. You know, what he's done for you. You know, presumably you now do that for the next generation. Is what I'm saying. Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. Well, I spent years and years with a good friend of mine called Jay Rollins, and we used to travel around schools, and we would teach magic, we would teach circus, and we'd get all these kids coming up to us just asking us questions like and we really kind of made sure that we didn't just teach the tricks, but you know, the ones who were really particularly interested, we would help them harness their interest and get them up on stage, like performing, you know, and just doing anything and everything.
So for me, it's a massive thing for me. Obviously, I run a club here, which you already know, but if the people watching don't, I run a thing called the Neptune Junior Magic Circle. Now, that used to be the Northern Junior Magic Circle, but long story short, they fell out and blah, 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 and I ended up taking over into it. But it's called the Neptune because it was inspired by Johnny and Cynthia Neptune, who used to run the Northern. And people like myself, Martin Duffy, Paul Linton, Nicholas Mohammed, were all members of the juniors, and obviously I wouldn't be here where I was if it wasn't for Cynthia Neptune sort of pushing pushing me and giving me stuff and helping me along. So hence why I run that club now, and it's based here at the shop, you know. And the kids, they get to do a show once a year at the South Tyneside Convention. Fortunately, Chris isn't there this year. But you know, one year he might be good enough to perform in it. But the kids, you know, get a great opportunity there to go and perform on a stage in front of 400 people in a real theatre. And we that's what we work on through the year, is getting them prepared for that. And it's a big thing.
Yeah,
It's a big thing.
I love it. I think it's brilliant. I think it's absolutely fantastic. And the fact that he did that for you, you know, it stuck with you all these years later. And I had somebody say that to me when they were taking me on stage at Merlin's convention last year, and I'd forgotten that I'd done this. And like when he was a young man, you know, I spent a lot of time. Me and Gary Jones spent a lot of time with him at Blackpool. He's with his dad, who was helping him, giving him some pointers and stuff. And then when he brought me on, he brought it up again and said that I'd really helped him when he was young. And I was almost in tears when I went on stage at the start of it, because it was just something that I'd done and I'd forgotten about. And it does stick with people. It does.
Yeah,
I think that's just back to the guy giving you all that stuff. I think that's actually a really good idea, because I'm sure there's a lot of magicians out there, right, who've got stuff in their drawers that they don't really use, and rather than bin it or try and sell it on secondhand magic, give it to a kid, which I think is a great idea. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure that we've all got drawers of stuff, and there'd be some really good stuff in there. And rather than try and sell it and make a fiver.
Don't give it to Graham's kid, because he'll put it all in the shop for sale.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right though. Yeah, I mean, it's like, it's good in it just to pass it on. And
I think that's a really good idea, and I think anybody else one bit of advice, I think that's good.
I've got one of my friends passed earlier this year, and his wife contacted me about getting rid of all of his, not getting rid of, but doing something with all his magic. And I've spoken to the Magic Circle about sending it to the Young Magic Circle for the next generation. So that's what we're going to do. I've just got to get down there and pick it all up.
Yeah.
But she loved that idea. She thought it was, you know, he'd really appreciate that. So that's great. Yeah. So so I think that's pretty much it. Joel, is there anything that you wanted to add before we go? Is there anything that you want to sort of add to what you've said already? Anything you want to plug?
Yeah. Okay. So a couple of quick things. So should we do this again at some point, if you're happy with that?
Definitely, yeah. We'd love to have you on.
Okay.
You know what we should do as well? We'll do this at some point where we can actually all be in the studio together rather than on Zoom. We'll have a physical, an actual...
The reason why I ask is because, Chris, what's your least favourite style or genre of magic?
Ooh, that's a great question.
I can answer them for me straight away, but
go on. Okay, you go first.
Well, I think you both already know it's probably mentalism,
right? So
don't get me wrong. I don't mind mentalism, but if I had to pick one of the genres that is my least favorite, it would be mentalism.
Right.
Mine would be thimbles, probably.
Right. Okay. So the reason why I'm asking is
that's not a genre.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I reckon that'll do. Thimble magic and mentalism. Yeah, that'll do. So a little challenge then, right? Is this the next time we do this, Chris? You need to have created a thimble magic trick.
Oh, you arse! I'm
changing. You wish you hadn't said thimbles now.
Yeah, and Graham, you've got to figure out a mentalism trick.
Easy. My job's a lot easier than Chris's.
Yeah, it is. But try and figure something out, and I will.
Okay, that's a good.
We can perform them on here. Or wherever it is, and I will take either mentalism or thimbles as well. I'll take the same route.
Thimbles,
right? Oh no, I'll think of something else. Just name a style, because I don't really have like a
magic with puppets.
Okay, I've done that. I've done it already.
Okay, magic with bananas.
Magic with bananas. What is that? A genre? All right. Okay.
Yeah, right. That's
cool.
not.
Should we go with puppets or
puppets?
No, let's go for puppet.
Yeah, puppets is good.
Puppet's a good one. Puppet's a good one.
Okay, right, let's do that. Cool.
I think a puppet's a good one. So listen, let's wrap this up. Before we go though, where can we get your stuff? Taylor will put a link on the screen. Magicbox do stock most of, if not all, of Joel's stuff. But the company is Miracle Magic, and a lot of
Miracle Studio.
Miracle Studio, sorry.
It's all right, man.
Taylor, I'll
Listen,
put that
tell
on
you
the
what,
screen.
just keep it really simple. Just pick it up from Magicbox, no problem, right? And I will bring you some of my booklets.
Okay.
We're going to get some footage of that so you can show it to your viewers. And the next time we do this, you're going to be doing thimble magic and you're going to be doing mentalism and I'm going to be doing puppet magic.
That sounds interesting and exciting at the same time.
Yeah.
Apart from the thimble magic, it sounds exciting, yeah.
And also the trick that you did before, the Lincoln rubber bands, we'll get a tutorial for that. Can we do that?
Yeah.
And we're going to somehow get that out free to the subscribers who watch this video or our videos.
Yes.
All right.
No worries.
But that will
Well,
send
I'll
more
tell you what you
information
can
about that
do.
in the future.
Just, if they're not on your newsletter, I mean, in your next newsletter, just send it out.
Okay.
Send it out.
Okay,
Awesome.
We'll do that. So stay tuned for that. But listen, Joel, I know you put your holiday off for this, so I really appreciate you coming along and having a chat with us. It was
no
really
worries.
good
Thank
fun.
you.
It was
Thanks
good to
for
see some
having
of your
me.
stuff.
Great to see you, mate.
Yeah.
Thank you very
Brilliant.
much.
Thanks a lot,
Cheers,
and we'll see
Paul.
everybody next week.
Take care of yourselves. Bye.